Weekly news.
Yeah.
Take two. We started it and then Josh had to run away. Okay, so back to Henry Cavill.
Yes.
So last week we talked about how Henry Cavill might be making an appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine, or at least being part of the MCU. Earlier this week, we talked about that rumor. Rumors have persisted that the DCEU's former Superman is being lined up for an MCU role. With Captain Britain, the character most often named by fans as an extra natural step for Cavill after he was ousted from his role as Man of Steel. Well, believe it or not, semi-reliable scooper Can We Get Toast has now confirmed that Cavill is indeed playing a Wolverine variant in the upcoming Deadpool threequel. This feels like something of a waste, especially if it's just for a gag. However, the British actor is given a decent supporting part to sink his teeth into, then it could be a lot of fun. We should also remind you of rumors that Deadpool Wolverine will introduce Earth 616 Wolverine. With that in mind, it's possible that Marvel Studios has cast Cavill as the new Logan for the post-Avengers Secret Wars reboot of the X-Men franchise.
That'd be crazy.
What do you mean?
That'd be crazy.
Oh, if Cavill was the new Wolverine? I'm never going to say a Marvel character that is already being played by someone else because everyone's doing such an amazing job. Cavill said in 2021. However, I have the internet and I have seen various rumors about Captain Britain. That would be loads of fun to do a cool modernized version of that, like the way they modernized Captain America. There's something fun about that, and I do love being British. It appears Marvel Studios and Ron Reynolds have found a way to change Cavill's mind. Suiting up as Wolverine is certainly one way to move on from the Man of Tomorrow. I think we kind of talked about this before. I don't really know that he has time to be Wolverine, like the main Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Or the main Captain Britain. Like, I guess Captain Britain could be a lesser character until he gets a solo movie. But, like, Warhammer, a Highlander, I'm sure there'll be a Highlander sequel. If it does well. I mean, it's the team from John Wick is doing it, Chad Zdarsky, so I don't see why it wouldn't be a hit, as long as the budget's reasonable. Not like Argyle. Plus the Warhammer stuff, like he's overseeing that. I'm sure he wants a juicy, meaty role for Warhammer. He's not going to just put himself as like a sideline guy in the Warhammer series that he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I like this idea. Like, I love Henry Cavill. One of my favorite nerd actors.
So I think one thing, at least, that is, I feel like this is definitely possibly true. Him playing a Wolverine variant that is going to stick around afterwards, I don't think so. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to be like a John Krasinski situation where we get the tease, and I don't think he's going to come back as the same character, but perhaps maybe he'll come back as somebody else. I don't know why I used John Krasinski. I figured he just, this was like a one-off thing. But I think they're trying to cash in on the fact that he's not with DC anymore, and like he essentially is fired. Well, let's be real. Like, Deadpool's going to come out in like this summer.
Yeah.
That's still kind of, resident with people, and between Marvel and DC, it is kind of a running gag. I mean, I guess you could say. So for them to cash in on that, for Ryan and crew to try to make something funny out of that, I could maybe see it, and that's what they use it for. But I would rather Cavill get used as a long-term investment for something else, right? Whether it be Captain Britain or whatever. I just don't think he might be too old to play a reoccurring Logan that's not.
Well, he's 40. I think he's 42 or 43.
It's gonna
how old was Hugh Jackman when he started?
He was in his late 30s, if I'm not mistaken, but he might have been in his early 40s.
So he's 55. So the first one came out in 99? Or 2000?
Was it 99?
2000.
I thought it was 2000, yeah.
So he'd been 32, 31 when he shot it.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess Cavill's a little old then for it.
Getting a little close.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I get we'll know in 3 months if he's in the movie or not. Okay, moving on. Nova project confirmed to be in early development at Marvel Studios. Updates on Wonder Man and Ironheart.
How many times have we heard this, eh?
I know.
Oh my god.
A few recent rumors aside, we haven't had an official update on Marvel Studios' plans for Nova, since the trades reported that a project focusing on the spacefaring hero was in the works back in 2022. Now we have confirmation that a Nova series is in early development. Quote, "We love Nova. We are in really early development on Nova." Marvel's head of streaming, animation, and television, Brad Winderbaum, tells comicbook.com. "We have a new system behind the scenes at Marvel Studios. We're more like a traditional studio now," which I think we're all saying is great. "We're developing more than we actually produce. There are plans to develop Nova. I love Nova 2. I love Rich Rider 2. I hope it gets to the screen. The world is always chaos. There's always things. You got to conjure these things to make them happen, but I would love to see a Nova show one day." So it seems like they're taking the route where they will have showrunners. They'll start pre-production on some ideas and see if it ends up being worthy of producing. So they'll put a team together. They'll write some stuff down and be like, does this work for television or streaming? And if it doesn't, they're going to say no, as opposed to when Bob Chapek was in charge and he's like, we need more streaming stuff. Put everything you can on the screen. So we can...
Was it good?
It's a good impression? Oh, yeah, I know him personally, so...
Yeah.
But now they're taking more of a, developmental, let's see what works, let's see what doesn't. We don't have to make everything that we have an idea for. Mm-hmm. We'll put some money into developing it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then it's a write-off. Right. And we're not going to bring stuff that's not worthy of the Marvel bannerhead, I guess. So following that, last we heard plan was for Richard Rider, unless they just decide to go with Sam Alexander, to make his MCU debut on the big screen, but based on what Winderbaum says here, it sounds like Nova Project will be Disney Plus, or possibly a special presentation. We know the Nova Corps was introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was led to speculation Rider would eventually... Fine. Are you having an earthquake over there?
Yeah.
James Gunn showed little interest in the character, but the Nova series, if that is indeed what it turns out to be, will most likely be a spin-out from Thanos, decimating most of the Nova Corps built up in Avengers Infinity War. As for who might end up playing the character, there are persistent rumors that Nova is one of the roles Ryan Gosling was speaking to Marvel about. The Barbie actor hasn't really seemed too excited about the prospect of playing a superhero or joining the MCU in previous interviews, although he did mention Ghost Rider as one character he might be interested in taking a crack. On a couple of occasions, he also appeared to be a little more open to the idea while doing press for the Russo brothers of the Gray Man last year. I think they felt my energy, he said, about working with Avengers Infinity War and Endgame directors. They must have felt it before I did. I hope they manifest this MCU thing. I think that would be cool. Moon Knight scribe Sabir Prasada was said to be penning the script, but there's a chance a new creative team will be attached by the time the project enters production. In a separate interview with Agents of Fandom, Winderbaum confirmed that both Ironheart and Wonder Man are still on the way, despite recent cancellation rumors. Quote, "Yeah, absolutely, we're editing both of those shows as we speak. They're spectacular, they're amazing, and they're different. We're able to explore corners of the universe that are really exciting. Riri Williams is one of them. I cannot wait for people to meet Simon Williams." So we kind of known that Ironheart's been done for a while. I was surprised to see him say that Wonder Man is in editing. Because didn't we get a report that they had been released from all... I guess that report that they'd been released from their contracts was not true. Weird, a rumor didn't turn out to be true.
Well, either that or they did new contracts, right, or something, but...
because it was in the middle of the strikes where they had to stop, right? And then... Yeah. Maybe they redid contracts because of the new stuff in the...
Okay, that was well, here's a question.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Here's a question for you. If I remember correctly, they were shooting for a bit. So let's say a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then, if you remember, they had an accident on set where someone died.
On Wonder Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that had to have shut down stuff for at least a week or more, if I would assume correctly.
Wonder Man dead following onset accident. Oh, Rigger died. Oh, that's too bad.
So
and Rolling Stone wants me to pay to read it. No, thank you.
Yeah. So they had that happen. That would have been delayed. Then they had the strikes. That would have been delayed. Just feel like if this is already in editing and they shot everything, perhaps this series is going to be a short one.
Well, typically it's been, 6 episodes, right? Like Moon Knight was 6.
I'm going to say it could possibly be 4.
Echo was 5. Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't mind a short season if it's good.
I don't mind it either. If they're going to do their due diligence and write it properly, then yeah, it'd be great.
So we also kind of knew that Sacha Baron Cohen, I guess, is going to be in Ironheart as Mephisto. Mm-hmm. Did you see that report today about Rebel Wilson?
No.
So Rebel Wilson has a book coming out, and she claims that Sacha Baron Cohen tried to block the book from coming out because there's a whole chapter on how big of an asshole Sacha Baron Cohen is.
It's him because people thought it was going to be John Hamm that was going to.
No, she came out and said it's Sasha. That's the giant asshole. And then he tried to block the book from coming out. They worked together on Grimsby. Do you remember that movie?
No.
It's a soccer hooligan movie with it's odd. Like Sacha Baron Cohen's in it, Rebel Wilson is in it, and Mark Strong is in it. It's a comedy.
That is a wacky cast.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that bad. Like, it wasn't Dictator bad. Yeah. But, yeah. And, that's kind of actually disappointing that he's I mean, that was 7 years ago they made that movie, so maybe he's changed. Still. Although, if he's trying to get the book to stop the book from coming out, then he hasn't changed at all, I guess.
Definitely not good. If he doesn't want the book to come out, that's...
Yeah, and you never want to hear about those people that you like as actors being jerks, but I'm sure most of them are.
Yeah.
Okay, rumor Eternals 2 has transformed into another project as Marvel Studios has a creative overhaul. When Eternals was released in 2021, it became Marvel's first rotten movie, and partly due to it being released in the final months of the pandemic. The movie also struggles to make a significant impact on the box office. While there's no denying it was a little overstuffed, and that it boasted an abysmal villain in Crow. Yeah, he was pretty bad. There was a lot about Eternals which did work. The movie arguably has something of an undeserved bad rap, particularly as it showed a different side of the MCU and set the stage for some exciting future stories. Unfortunately, 3 years later, Marvel Studios still hasn't announced a plan to release a follow-up to that big cliffhanger. As a result, it's unclear when or where we'll learn about what became the Eternals taken from Earth by Arishem for judgment after the role of stopping Tiamat's emergence. We've recently heard that Disney Studios is pushing Marvel Studios away from the sequel to unsuccessful movies, taking fewer risks to focus on guaranteed hits. There's good and bad to that approach, and recent reports points to Eternals 2 being one of the victims. However, Scooper My Time to Shine Hello is today claiming that while the sequel isn't necessarily happening in its original form, it's transformed into something else. We assume this means the heroes will be joined by a much bigger character as lead, Thor, or the Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, or that they'll become supporting characters in another movie. Either option would work, particularly if it means we get a resolution to their story. Shortly before last year's Comic-Con, several trademark filings by Marvel Studios leaked online. Among them was Celestial's End of Time, which suggests it could be tied to the wider multiverse saga and time travel. The Celestial's remains are expected to factor into the Captain America Brave New World as a source of adamantium in the MCU. Though Kit Harington's Dane Whitman Black Knight was reportedly dropped from Blade several drafts ago, we're assuming most, if not all, of the Eternals cast would return for this mysterious project. Quote, he's excited, we're excited, we'll see, Kevin Feige said a few months ago when asked about what the plan is for Harry Styles' Star Fox. You introduce a lot of new characters in a lot of movies and a lot of tags. Where do the tag folk reappear? That's a good question.
Tag? What the fuck?
I don't know. I guess that means like you tagged him in at the end for a little quick cameo and then tagged him out. I don't know. Yeah, we recently watched Eternals 2. Well, I mean, recently as in the last year, 12 months. Yeah, there were some things about it that really worked and some things that didn't. Crow's pretty bad as a villain. The Eternals themselves, their dynamic was pretty good. I found it enjoyable. Icarus being the kind of the villain at the end was pretty good. Didn't love that. What's her name? Not Angelina Jolie. Selma Hayek's character died. Went away.
Yeah.
Although, so it's weird because in the comics, they can come back from being dead. Like they just get reborn constantly. So I assume maybe Selma Hayek has that ability, or they have the technology to do that.
Would Icarus have that too? I guess.
Yeah. Well, he flew into the sun, right? So
yeah. Spoilers.
Weird that his name was Icarus and he flew into the sun. Yeah, so I'd expect them all back. Whether they're still signed to contracts or not is a different story. I knew Kumail Nanjiani had to go to counseling because of the negative reviews. Not sure he wants to come around for round 2 of that, but
I doubt it. I can see them coming back in a supportive role. I mean, that would probably be best for any of the situation. I feel like, I don't know, there was a certain amount of characters in the Eternals, like the team itself, that we found, a lot of fan favorites with, and then a lot of people didn't like some other performances, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. I mean,
you can't like everyone right? in every movie. There's got to be.
She was okay, but she wasn't amazing.
Who was?
Thought Gemma Chan.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought she was good, but I didn't think she was amazing. And I thought, what's his name? The guy who played Icarus. You already said his name. I completely just grazed right over me.
The guy from what is his name?
That gentleman right there.
Yeah, that guy from Game of Thrones.
Rob.
Rob Stark.
Yeah, like he did good, but I didn't think he was like amazing. You know what
Richard
I mean? Like
Madden.
he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't stunning. You know what I mean? But the other ones, the
Brian Tyree Henry was great as Phastos.
Yeah,
Bear Keoghan as Droog was great.
Also amazing. Yeah, he did very
Gilgamesh.
good. Yep, Speedster.
Bill Skarsgård played Crow. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I knew that. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they did him dirty because I didn't feel like it was like could have been better.
Yeah, well, in the original comics, Thena and Crow actually have a love story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that fucking makes
which
sense,
they did not do at all in this movie.
Yeah.
Sprite was fine. They could have kind of explored they could have kind of explored her struggle with being always a kid and not being able to grow up a bit.
Sure. Yep.
Didn't really do that. There was some good things and there were some not great things, but I think there was enough there that if the budget was small enough, it could be a success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It did look very nice and sound very good.
Yeah, Chloe Zhao, what's she doing lately anyways? Chloe Zhao has an eye for good film.
Yes,
Nomadland was great.
Correct.
She did a Diablo 4 commercial. Survivors or Saviors Wanted. So she did a short in 2022, a commercial in 2023, and she's working on.
So she's not doing too great since Eternals. Either that, or she's taking her time, and she's either working on or picking very specific projects that she wants to do.
Yeah, so she has one in pre-production called Hamnet, which I don't have. The story of Agnes, the wife of William Shakespeare, as she struggles to come to terms with the loss of her only son. Hamnet, a human heart-stopping story as a backdrop. It doesn't say who's in it. Oh, Sam Mendes is a producer. Okay. Yeah,
that's not too bad.
I don't think she's hurting for projects. I think she just picks what she wants. Okay. Speaking of non-successful movies, Madam Web has been pulled from theaters. Yeah.
Already. Holy shit.
Madam Web was released on Valentine's Day, a little over a month later. After 5 weekends, Sony Pictures has officially given up on its latest Marvel movie. It arrived on digital last week, and unsurprisingly has become the subject of ridicule on social media ever since. That lines up with how the movie was treated when it was playing in the multiplexes, so it's no wonder that Sony has decided to move on from a comic book adaptation that thought to have cost upwards of $100 million. This weekend, Madam Web wrapped its theatrical run with a mere $43 million in North America. That's 30 less than what Morbius made in 2022. Sony Pictures will almost certainly wait to see how Kraven and Venom perform later this year before making any decisions. But it's obvious that the studio has no idea what it's doing with its live adaptation. Thankfully, Spider-Man remains a shared character with Marvel Studios for now, anyways. Even if let's just say, for the sake of argument, Kraven is a hit, I'm not sure they have Aaron Taylor Johnson for more movies, because the latest rumor is that he's the next James Bond.
Yeah, so they shut down that rumor pretty quick. I think that's just because they want to control the narrative. Yeah,
I thought
he
was signing in days is the last I saw.
So what happened was that report came out from whatever medium or whatever outlet it was, and then I think it was 5 hours later or 6 hours later.
Yeah.
They posted a new article.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, actually, he hasn't been offered the role. So it was definitely quite a buzz, but he's been talked about for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I know that he's been in the running for the last bit. So I would not be surprised if this is finally like worked out and done, because the people who own the Bond franchise and run it, which is is that a combination of MGM and someone else?
No, I think it's a family that owns James.
Oh, really? Jesus.
Eon Productions. It's the Wilson Broccoli family.
Huh. Interesting.
Danjik is a U.S.-based company that co-owns with MGM Studios the copyright. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're right. There's a shared there.
So I just can't see MGM going through any process fast or quick.
The last James Bond movie was like 3 years ago, wasn't it?
No, but that's what I mean, right? Like, I can't see them making a choice, like just being like, we're thinking about this, and then they choose this right away. You know what I mean? Like, we heard whispers last year about this. Now we're hearing solidification this year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, in a few months we do get an announcement of some kind. But that's how long it would probably have taken, right? Versus literally any other role. Like, I mean, I would say that Bond is up there with one of the most iconic roles that, you can only fill with a certain amount of people, right? Like,
there's only certain actors who can play James Bond.
Pull it off, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him in the role. I think he can do a good job. Bullet Train was a good movie. He was good in that.
He was great in that movie, dude.
It's good in Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
There was another movie too, something that I liked, and I forget what it was. Anyways,
apparently there was a movie where he dropped dong big time in the movie. Like, he was full. Oh yeah. I unfortunately I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw a GIF. He's very gifted. I'll give it to him. Holy shit!
Did you know his wife is 20 years older than him? They met on set.
Did we have this conversation? Because I could have sworn that there was because a news article came out like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. About him like posting online saying happy birthday to the love of my life or whatever, and there's like a picture of him and her. He looks like, obviously his age. She looks like she's about to fall apart.
Oh, whoa! I don't think we talked about that.
And everyone was like, "Why? She's quite older than him. What's the deal?" And as soon as you start reading, you figure out what happened. And then he's like, "Well, why does everyone seem like this is weird?" And it's exactly that picture right there.
That's fun.
So if I understand, the one on the left is from him when he was like 18.
Yeah, so they met when he was 19 and she was 42. Yeah. Two began dating and were married June 2012. So he was 22 when they got married and she was 45.
But she, from my understanding, she had been working with him before he was 19. Like they had known each other for years. So
no, it says they met on the set of their film Nowhere Boy when he was 19.
He was in Nowhere Boy? What?
I don't even know what the movie is. However, you can't really say. Listen, if men who are actors are gonna, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, you got the other side. Like, right? You can't really.
So Aaron Taylor Johnson, he was in Nowhere Boy, which is so crazy because this is one of my favorite movies. He did play John Lennon as a kid.
Yeah.
And he re-recorded some of his early songs.
Oh yeah.
That he did by himself. Yeah. He was actually pretty good. That's totally crazy and I forgot that.
Okay. Deadpool and Wolverine, another rumor about Cassandra Nova. Much of Deadpool and Wolverine remains shrouded in secrecy, though we expect Emma Corrin's Cassandra Nova to be the threequel's big bad. We don't know whether she hails from the X-Men universe or is among those trapped in the void. Either way, it appears Professor X's twin will be a formidable threat. Scooper Cryptic for Qual has shared some new details about Cassandra today, including that she's faithful and true to the comics. Apparently Nova is evil and twisted, a serious nutcase of a villain. They add that Cassandra has no regard for life and is a very formidable adversary. The leaker later says that Magneto's helmet is at one point mentioned as a means to fight her telepathic abilities. Unfortunately, she already got to it.
Okay.
Well, I'm all for good villains, so I guess we'll see if that comes true.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like we're now in a we're going to be in a movie where we have variants, we have different multiverses, right? Like different whatever. So watching her probably obliterate a bunch of heroes is not going to be off the table.
Like like Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. Like, she just...
Yeah, and I feel like because we have the R rating, we're going to get some insane kills. Like, if I don't see her pull all the blood veins out of someone's body and then the body thing fall down like a suit, I'm going to be pretty sad. So, something similar, though. Maybe a brain...
a brain gets pulled out through the nose, Egyptian style.
Yes.
Okay, two more articles here. Wonger's Benedict Wong says something is looming for Wong in the MCU. Benedict Wong first played Wong in 2016. It's like a tongue tie. Doctor Strange and the character given a long overdue update instead of being portrayed as Sorcerer Supreme's manservant. Became an instant hit with fans. We know the actress appeared in multiple movies. There have been rumblings that Marvel Studios might be developing a Strange Academy TV series for Disney Plus, featuring Wong training the likes of America Chavez and Abomination. Benedict has now teased the hero's impending return. I can't really say it's been a while. Something's looming. In 2022, Benedict was asked how he felt when Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige dubbed the MCU the Wong Cinematic Universe. Quote, I've got the email. I'm seriously considering getting it as a wallpaper. No, I told the internet and now it's everywhere, but that's really kind of him to say. For me, I'm just like overexcited puppy when I get a call from him, like, hey, would you like to be an X? And that comes from me just personally being such a Marvel fan. Growing up as a kid, reading Spider-Man comics, and then just finding myself in this world, finding a character like Wong. I'm just enjoying playing this role, and where it takes me in every single kind of project they invite me to be involved in, it just pulls away from another layer of the onion. You get to find a little bit more about the eccentricities of the Sorcerer Supreme. As for whether he's hoping for a Wong spin-off, quote, a lot of people have said that, yeah, I can certainly think of some ideas, but hey, it's not for me to push that. If you ever see anyone send the question over there, I mean, look, I love playing this role. I think there's so much more scope that we could get into with the series. Yeah. I'd be super excited to see a Wong Strange Academy series. That'd be amazing.
Super fun. I think we're kind of in that zone where, he started off as a side character, even like a brief character, and then people enjoyed him more. He got more screen time to the point where he was in different projects without Doctor Strange, which is, I don't know, like I would consider that a huge thing. I don't know, is he in the comics? Is he well known in the comics?
Yeah, he's Doctor Strange's manservant in the comics,
right?
At least original comics. They have to update his character a little bit.
Yeah, does he change much? Do you know? Because I feel like he's gotten more depth-ish to his character in the movies than he would have maybe in the comics.
Yeah,
to an extent.
So I've read the
I have to say that.
I read the Stanley and Jack Kirby run of Doctor Strange, and he was definitely a manservant.
Yeah.
But let's see. I'm not sure if they really updated him. Is there Wolf?
Yeah.
Cancer. What I was trying to cancer during Civil War.
Wow. Jesus. But what I was trying to kind of not really explain, but highlight is that with him being such a side character, now all these years have gone by, the way that the MCU has expanded, he's been able to get into these different projects.
Yeah.
And still hold his own, you know what I mean? So is it going to be one of those situations where they give him more time on screen and he pulls it off as a lead-ish? Or is that not going to be enough? They're going to have to bring in other characters. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, right now, he still has the title of Sorcerer Supreme. So
right. So I still think there's a lot of possibility there.
Okay. So one last article. Bob Iger is in a fight to keep the board of Disney, and there are some activist investors trying to claim board seats to change the way Marvel and Disney does business. Disney investor Nelson Peltz questions Kevin Feige's abilities and need for Black Panther's all-black cast. Last year, billionaire Nelson Peltz investment firm Triana Partners used its $2.5 billion stake in Disney to launch a proxy fight to force his way onto the company's board. Oh, this is like Succession, which I'm rewatching right now. Peltz has been highly critical of Disney's $71 billion acquisition of 21st Century Fox and the debt that left the House of Mouse dealing with, and is first to point out that the studio's recent financial woes over the past couple of years that's extended to theatrical and streaming losses, with brands like Marvel and Pixar struggling to make the same impact they once did. Talking to the Financial Times, Peltz, who is once again campaigning for board seats and now holds a stake of about $3.5 billion, said, "Disney is stupid because I'm not trying to fire Bob Iger. I want to help him. We don't fire CEOs." Disney doesn't want Peltz or his followers on the board and argue that he's failed to present a single strategic idea of how to turn things around. The insinuation seems to be that Peltz is only interested in increasing profits for investors, even if that's to the detriment of Disney's creative output. During this interview, the site put Peltz's apparent lack of ideas to him, prompting the businessman to take aim at Disney's recent releases. Quote, "They say we know nothing about the movie business. We don't claim we do, but I do think they do. With 5 big losers in a row, they've lost first place in animation. They've lost first place in features. Maybe it's time to change management in those divisions." So someone who knows nothing about the movie business wants to make sweeping changes, but will that extend to firing Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige? Quote, "I'm not ready to say that, but I question his record," Peltz says of the man who has overseen a $30 billion franchise since it launched in 2008. Ultimately, it seems like he feels Disney and Marvel have gone too woke. People go to watch a movie or a show to be entertained. They don't go to get a message. Why do I have to have a Marvel that's all women? Not that I have anything against women. No, it doesn't sound like you do. But why do I have to do that? Why can't I have the Marvels that are both Marvels? I don't think he understands what the Marvel.
No, well, clearly he doesn't. It's okay.
Why do I need an all-black cast? Those comments appear to be in relation to the Marvel's Black Panther. The latter grossed over $1 billion and earned an Oscar nomination. They very much echo Ike Perlmutter's thoughts on Marvel. The executive who allegedly stopped Kevin Feige from making movies revolving around non-white characters. Asked about these remarks from Peltz, a Disney spokesperson responded, "This is exactly why Nelson Peltz shouldn't be anywhere near a creatively driven company." I don't really know that we need to explain this or talk about it, other than
I mean,
he clearly doesn't understand what the Marvels was. Not sure where he's getting the last 5 flops from, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made 800 million. Here, let's just look at the last 5 Marvel movies.
I mean, it wasn't amazing, but they 2 out of the 5 made money. 3 out of the 5 made money. The internet, just whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to give me the top.
Might not give you anything at all.
Marvel. And they're gross. Okay, Box Office Mojo. Okay, so can we sort by year? Yeah, we can. Okay, so Black Panther Wakanda did 450 million. Spider-Man No Way Home, re-release, did 5 million, 9 million. Thor Love and Thunder did 343 million. Doctor Strange did 411 million. This is all gotta be domestic.
Yeah, those probably all broke even a bit.
I don't know about that. Black Panther.
Domestically, I mean, whatever they would have made overseas on top, that would have been just an extra. Happens. Fuck, numbers doesn't want to work today, eh?
It's always slow.
Yeah. Probably using Microsoft servers.
Oh, yeah, so it did 800 million worldwide. Budget was 250. So even if you say it needs to make 2 times
an extra, yeah,
it still made $350 million plus an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, like come on.
There's also something in here too where so they don't go to get a message. Why do I have to have a Marvel that's all women? Well, you don't have to go. No one's forcing you to go to these movies. I mean, yeah, some people didn't like the Marvels. It didn't make a lot of money. Why? I wasn't that great a movie. If it had been better and got better reviewed, I'm sure it would have probably made its money back. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can't really. Spider-Man No Way Home grossed $1 billion, and that was. Let's see. So Morbius you don't count because that's Sony. So yeah. So there.
So almost 4
So
out of
5
the 5
movies back with Spider-Man No Way Home, and it made $1 billion. Is that a loss? Is that like not being number 1 now?
So silly, dude. So silly.
And I don't think he understands that the comics have always had, at least Marvel Comics anyways, has always had that social
commentary?
Social commentary, and, ethics, morals, questioning society, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's all, they've always had some sort of message in there somewhere. Whether sometimes Marvel puts it too much in front, like that shot in Endgame with the all-girl team. It was a little awkward. It kind of drew you out of the movie. They could have done maybe handled that better.
A little bit.
But I'm not going to say the movie was terrible because of that one shot of 5 seconds. Like,
no.
Yeah. So sure, could Marvel be better at? Well, sometimes being too subtle doesn't work because people are.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
It's a very fine line that people tread. Yeah.
Some people notice, some people don't. Some people aren't tuned in enough to, I don't know. Some people, and sometimes people are too tuned in and think that everything they have just seen on screen was there to offend them. So, I don't know. It's they could be better at they could be better at the line, I guess, but I don't know, just go watch the movie and enjoy it for the parts you like, and I don't know. It's weird. Anyways,
we'll get there. Don't worry. They'll just fight for another
Black
year.
Panther's all black cast. Yeah, so the first one didn't have an all black cast. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, obviously.
Claw is a white guy. What's his name from Lord of the Rings is a white guy. What is his name?
Yeah.
I
forget.
The shield guy. Not the shield guy. What is his name?
Oh my god. Coulson.
No, not Coulson.
I thought that's who you meant. Wait, was
no,
it?
no.
Not in the first one.
No. Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman, his character.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways. Okay. That's Matt and Josh. I'll hit you with a sponsor and thanks.
Your new multi-vendor marketplace, YouSellComics.com, offers a site exclusively for buying and selling of all things comics. Slabs, omnis, trades, and more. Sell for as low as 5% commission or 0 commission monthly tiers. Run your own auctions, unlimited bin listings. YouSellComics.com.